What's going on, guys? My name is Jrod4x, and in today's video we're going to be going over the technicals I see unfolding for this week's price action. This is something I do every single week with my premium members inside of the Facebook group. So if you're interested in becoming a part of that, you can click the link right below this video to become a member. And if this is your first time here and you want to learn how to trade Forex using technical analysis and price action and all kind of other Forex related stuff, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell icon so you don't miss anything. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into today's video. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the dollar index, and we're going to start with the daily time frame. Alright, so dollar index is pretty much below that 94 big figure now. We closed at 93.96. So likely what I think is going to happen now going into next week is we're going to come and take this liquidity below here. So that comes in at 93.20. So these equal lows are the next level that I'm going to be targeting for dollar index on the downside. Now, if we start to find support within this ICT bullish order block here, then again, we'll move back to these equal highs at 95.50 for our target. But what I want to see at the start of the week, so ideally, between today and tomorrow up until Tuesday's London Open, what I want to see is dollar index push up a little bit higher. So ideally, a retracement into this ICT bearish order block here. We have this up candle, and then we have these 4 down candles here, and that basically validated this here as an ICT bearish order block, because this candle here never closed below this candle. So this candle was just a very small wicked candle, so this candle finally closed below it. And then this one never came back up and retraded to it. It just continued lower. So my eye is going to this ICT bearish order block right here for the next potential selling opportunity in dollar index. So what that means is if dollar index pushes back up into this level, so the low comes in at 94.53, so 94.50 up into 94.65. We could see dollar index trade into those levels, and what I want to see happen is the market start to form lower lows and lower highs, and then what we're going to be looking for from there is the market to trade lower and take out the liquidity below these equal lows. I don't think whenever the market pushes back up into here that we're going to want to break above it and then start targeting these equal highs, since we've broken below this low here. So if you guys think about what I teach, I always talk about break and market structure, retest. And what we have right here is a daily low. So the market has now broke below that daily low. This daily candle didn't break below it yet. It just formed a wick and traded higher. So we didn't have any confirmation that structure was necessarily broken yet. Now we have confirmation that there's been a lower low made here. So we have to keep our eye on dollar index, because likely what's going to happen is they're going to want to run the liquidity below here. So if they keep, strong bearish candles all the way below here, then we're going to be looking for this level of liquidity here. So they can find support below these equal lows within this ICT bullish order block here. But that's why we have to really pay attention to what the candles look like, because if they're strong bearish candles, then ideally, we would expect it to just continue lower. But if it's just forming like wicks, like you see how it's just wicking, at these levels here, at that point, you can start anticipating a potential change in direction. So it could find support at this level again. But we just have to see how price action gets whenever we get to that level. But again, going into the week, I want to see the market push up, trade into this ICT bearish order block here. Now we can find resistance at this low here, because that would just be a retest of structure. Now old support would now become resistance. So the low of this candle is 94.17. So the levels that I want to be really watching for dollar index to find resistance and start trading lower, which basically what all of this translates to is strength in foreign currency. So, you know, at these price levels that we're expecting dollar index to trade up into and find resistance, we would be expecting foreign currency to be trading into support, and we could look to buy the market, you know, at those levels. And we'll move to that in just a second. But this is the level that I want to focus on here, 94.17. So that would be the first potential level of resistance that could come in the market. If it does not find resistance there, then we're going to anticipate a trade up into this ICT bearish order block here. So we never know which one they're going to necessarily find resistance at, but that's why we have to move to a lower time frame, and we'll look for lower lows and lower highs. But ideally, you know, I'd like to see them push up into this level here, which would you know, basically entice a lot of people to get long this market, and then, you know, we could look to sell it from there. But we really have to watch what happens within this ICT bullish order block here, because if we do break back above this candle, then we're going to have to move to these equal highs. But just from the structure that we have alone, I think we're going to get the move below these equal lows, and then they can come back up and take the equal highs. But I think these equal lows are going to be the target first. So again, that's 93.20, about 70 pips or so away from current market price. So if we go to a 4 hour here, you could see on the 4 hour time frame that this ICT bearish order block basically overlaps with the low here at the 93.17 level that we were mentioning on the daily time frame. So let me see why that's not showing up. Okay. So you can see that this level, daily low, pretty much overlaps with this 4 hour ICT bearish order block. So that could be all we need in order for dollar index to find that resistance and then start selling off. But we have to anticipate the potential trade up into the ICT daily bearish order block level, which is this line here. All right. So what is, we're on a 4 hour. All right, so this is the last thing I want to talk about with dollar index. Look at what the market did here. It formed equal lows. And so let me move this over so you guys can see. So the market formed equal lows, and then it started pushing higher. So this is, you know, exactly what they do. They basically entice longs in the market, so they're getting everybody to think, oh, it's found support, it's formed a double bottom, and, you know, it's going to start trading higher. But what we focus on is if the market's bearish, so making lower lows and lower highs, we would expect bearish order blocks to be respected. So you can see the market just reacts off of this double bottom, pushes up into this ICT bearish order block here, which is these two up candles before this big down candle. So you can see the market trades up into that, and you can also pull your fibs, and that would probably be like a 70.5 or 79% retracement level. But the point I'm making is you can see how the market forms equal lows, trades up, entices a bunch of people to think that it's formed a bottom, and then you can see ultimately it trades off right through it. And look at the speed that it trades through it once it does finally break through. Big body down candles, right? So this is what we want to see if we're expecting further weakness. We don't want to see just like wicks forming and then it's just consolidating around the level. We want to see it break through the level with speed. And that's what we've seen here. So that's why I'm expecting further weakness on dollar index. So it's all about starting with that higher time frame and then breaking it down little by little. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover for dollar index here. So again, focusing on weakness in dollar index for the week overall, targeting these equal lows here at 93.20. But if we do start finding some support here and get back above this ICT bearish order block, then I'm going to be targeting the equal highs at 95.50. But for you guys in the premium group, the signals likely for this week will more than likely be buys in foreign currency, and ideally we're going to be looking for to buy the market once the level right here at 94.20 or on 94.60 shows us resistance for dollar index, and we can get some support to come in foreign currency. So that's dollar index. Now let's move over to euro dollar. So again, euro dollar basically inverse of what we have in dollar index. So you can see we've now poked our head above this high that we had in here. So we've broken structure on a daily time frame, while also forming, I think there was some divergence here that I can talk to you guys about. So you can see, let me get the line. Right here on dollar index, we have those equal daily highs, but euro dollar we formed a higher low, and then here in cable at the bottom we formed a lower low. So all we're doing, if you guys don't know like what divergence is or anything, it's just basically you're looking at the correlated pairs, putting them together and trying to see basically a break in correlation between one of the pairs. And in this case specifically, we have cable at the bottom, we have dollar index here at the middle, and then we have euro dollar at the top. You can see that we made a lower low right here in cable. At the same time, we've made equal highs in dollar index, and at the same time in euro dollar, we've made a higher low. So what does this mean? You can tell that there's overall strength in euro dollar because there's a higher low. So that means underlying strength. That's divergence across these pairs. Okay, so we have these equal highs, which could potentially hold for a while in dollar index. Since we broke structure on the daily time frame, we could just continue lower. Now, since euro dollar made this lower low, that was just indicating, since cable, GBP USD, here at the bottom made a lower low, all that lower low indicated was basically a stop run on these lows. So the market just dropped down below, took out the people that bought the market here and placed their stop loss below this low, took them out, and then started trading higher. And that's basically how we read divergence. But you can tell there's underlying strength in euro dollar, and this is why I will actually be focusing on euro dollar buys this week. And speaking of that, we are going to be targeting these relatively equal highs here on euro dollar. So that level that I'm going to be looking for is 1840. Now the high on this candle comes in at 1852, so anywhere between 1840 and 1850 would be a reasonable target. We're going with the first high here versus trying to catch the full move and go with this one, but it's only 10 pips, so it's not a big deal. But this is going to be my overall target for the week. It's going to be 1840. So that's about 100 pips from where we're at now. And in terms of how we would get on board to buy this market, what I want to see is, so there's two levels that we could basically find support at for euro dollar, just as we've seen the inverse on dollar index. So let's draw our levels out here. We have this. So I'm going to talk about the levels in just 1 second. I just want to mark them out. Okay. So this high comes in at 1720. So we're going to change this to 1720. All right, perfect. So the two levels that euro dollar could trade into and potentially find support at would be this high here at 1720, which is a retest of structure. Old resistance, broke through it, now becomes support. Okay, so if the market does not find support there, what I'd be looking for the next level for the market to find support at would be the high of this ICT bullish order block here. So anywhere from the high down to really anywhere within the candle, but ideally between the high to the open is where I would want to see the market find some support. So that would be between 1675 and 1690. So anywhere from 1675 to 1720, I want to see the market show us support, and then we're going to be looking to buy that and then look for our 1840 objective. Now, if we break this down on a lower time frame, so if by going on a 4-hour time frame, you can see that we have this ICT bullish order block here, which is a series of down candles. Not necessarily all these candles, but you can really map it out two different ways. So you have these two down candles, and you also have this one down candle here. How I would do it in this scenario is I'm using like basically the first one. So that way the market will basically, I can get in. You know what I mean? I'm not missing it. I'm not trying to wait until it gets all the way down here. I don't mind sitting through a little bit of drawdown as long as I'm in the move and my overall direction is right. So basically this high right here is enough for me. I don't necessarily need the market to trade all the way into this ICT bullish order block here. As long as my stop loss is below this low, then I should be safe, right? So the market shouldn't break below this low if we're going to continue bullish. And you guys, I hope you all, understand basically what a bullish trend is, which is just a low, a high, higher lows. So you have lows that are forming higher than the previous ones. So higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. We're expecting a higher low to form at or near this level here, right? So that will be the next higher low forming in the bullish trend, taking us up into that 1840 level up here. So that's, pretty much how we map it out. But notice we don't have to get on the move down here. If you're, a divergence type of trader and you can spot these divergences as they happen and then get on board as soon as this happens, then, by all means, great. But, ideally what we like to wait for is that break in structure. Now we've had that break in structure. So once the market trades down into this level, we should find some support. We didn't have to trade last week. We didn't have to worry about, trying to trade every day through like the holiday, NFP, FOMC. It's just, mainly a waste of time. We needed to wait for the market to prove to us that this was going to be what unfolded. We didn't know if this double top was going to hold and they were going to sell off. We didn't know if that was the case or if they were going to break above it. Once they prove to us that they're going to continue higher by breaking structure like this, all we need to wait for now is a retracement. So where could they likely retrace into? Well, this ICT bullish order block here would be my first objective. So anywhere from 1720, which is the retest of daily structure, down into that 4-hour ICT bullish order block. But we can use our fibs pulling it from the low. So the swing that we're looking at, which is this low to this high, the swing that broke structure. Okay, if you guys are confused with swings or anything, just ask me. But you're pulling your fib on the swing that breaks structure. So this is the swing that broke structure. So where would we expect the market to retrace into? Well, 61.8, 70.5, and 79% are the potential levels. It doesn't have to trade into those levels because we know that price action and the way it works, we could find support here, or we could also find support here. We have these levels on our charts as well, so 1700 down to 1692. We can have those levels on our chart for a potential buy opportunity if we get the market to trade into those levels like during a news event or something like that. So we'll go ahead and mark them on our charts so we have them. And if the market does trade into these levels, it'll also be a good study for you guys to see how price action behaves once the market trades down into these levels, if it does. All right, so we have those marked out. Oh man, that looks really messy. Just gonna make them smaller. Okay. So now all the blue lines are the potential support levels that the market could trade into. So we're not trying to do anything until the market gets near these levels. Once that happens, then we're going to be able to drop down to our lower time frame. So we can go down to an hourly like this. And you can see most of those levels that we marked up on the 4 hour are overlapping with an hourly support level as well. So notice ICT bullish order block high overlaps with the 4 hour level we just drew on. Okay, so that could be the level that they use, 1720. Also overlapping with that daily retest of structure is right here. So, you know, this is kind of the key whenever you're going through your charts and trying to like figure out what are they going to do, all that stuff. You want to figure out like what levels are they using, what levels are responsive. And you can see the market, you know, it traded off of this level here, but then it broke through it, you know, and didn't waste any time. So if the market trades back into there, we should expect more buying to come in the market and look for higher prices basically. So that is going to be it for euro dollar. Now we will look at cable, but this one here really is just not one that I'm favoring at the moment. I ideally prefer euro dollar just because of the price action that we have. We still have this high back here that cable hasn't broke above. We are making higher highs and higher lows, so you know it is bullish price action overall. But I don't like the way that this pair looks in comparison to euro dollar and how much cleaner it looks. So I don't know if you guys can tell the difference, but just like, you know, by looking at this and then looking at euro dollar, you can see this clear move that it's had above the high. And when we're looking at cable, it's still kind of got this liquidity resting above here. So it could very well, you know, push above there, but it needs to trade back down within this ICT bullish order block here in order for me to get on board to want to buy this market. But I'm not going to be personally buying cable. I'd rather be a seller of this market. So I just would rather this high to be broken before I buy cable at all. So I'm totally fine with sitting out on cable and just trading euro dollar. And that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing because I can see it better, right? So whatever's clearer to you is what you should be focused on. And you guys seen, you know, for basically a couple months we were only trading cable and that was the clearest one. And then now it's like euro dollar is a little bit clearer. So you know, it's just kind of whatever works for you, but these are the two pairs that I basically trade. And, you know, if one of them doesn't look good, then I'll just basically move to the other because it generally looks a lot clearer. And it works this way a lot. You'll see sometimes euro dollar will move into a consolidation and there won't be any movement, but cable will be beautiful and you'll be able to take, you know, multiple setups in cable. So it just varies, but at this current time euro dollar looks better. But in terms of what we could see this week on cable, what I'm looking for initially is the run on this high here at 33.15. So we're not too far away from that now, about 30 pips or so. So if we can take out 33.15, that's a break in daily structure here. And then what we could see is a move above this, retest, and then a continuation above this high here, which would really give us that indication that they're buying this market and they're probably going to want to take it back up above these equal highs here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for this pair in particular, but again, I'm mainly focused on euro dollar at the moment. It just looks clearer to me. But in terms of upside objectives, I'm going to be looking for 33.15 and then this high here at 34.70. So those are the two levels that I'll be looking at for the upside. In terms of this week on cable, so GBP USD. If we move to a lower time frame, see if there's anything a little bit clearer. Now the 4 hour, this ICT bullish order block should hold. So since we've broken above this, if the market trades back into this ICT bullish order block here, if the market starts forming higher highs and higher lows on a 15-minute time frame within this level, then you could basically buy the market and look for this level to be taken out and then this level back here. If you do want to be a buyer of this market. So that's just a, kind of like a little hint for you guys. If you do want to, potentially buy this market, I'm not going to be trading it, but if you want to like test it out on a demo account, practice and, see how you can actually, translate this stuff into your own trading, I highly recommend that you guys like practice on a demo account and stuff. And since we're not going to be trading this pair, this would be good practice for you guys to see, potentially buy the market around this in this ICT bullish order block here, and set your take profits at these levels and see what it does. So that's really it for cable. I don't really have nothing to say about this. I'm not really focused on it too much this week. I want to see this hold to support, and I want to see these levels taken on the upside, as long as we get that continued weakness on dollar index. So let's see, we can look at dollar yen. To me is this is the last pair that we traded last week. We took a little trade on this. We didn't really get anything out of it, but it's just consolidating. It's really just holding this range, so it's just sticking in between this high and this low. It's not really giving us any type of movement out of that. With dollar index weakness, we should expect weakness on dollar yen, but they can pretty much do their own thing. We are respecting that 79% retracement level on this swing here, so really to indicate that selling, we need to see a break below this low. So this isn't a pair I'm going to be focused on either, but for those of you that do watch it, just kind of like a warning sign to be clear, be cautious, because it's really unclear to me at the moment because it's just within this range, and we do have this ICT bearish order block that it seems like they're respecting. So I think we could get weakness on this, but it could very well just come out and sweep this high at 111.50, because we got a lot of liquidity built up above there. So that's just my personal opinion, but again, I'm going to be staying away from this. And then we will look at dollar CAD. So we finally broke through this level here, so looks like we're going to get weaker prices on dollar CAD as well. We were seeing if they were going to find support there. They were kind of hanging around that level for a while, but on Friday they finally broke through it. So that basically indicates to me that we're heading into a time where this pair is going to start getting weak, in my opinion, and that's just what we could see based off of the price action we have so far. So what I would like to see, personally, before selling this pair, I'd like to see it break below this ICT bullish order block and sell it on the retest of that level. So all that would look like would basically be if we drew a line like this, I'd want to see the candles break below here. So this, could or couldn't happen this week. I'm not specifically focused on this pair, but this is what I want to see in order, for me to sell this pair. You could just sell it in here and place your stop loss above, this ICT bearish order block here. But, for that extra confirmation, what I would like to see is a break below this candle, retest of that, and then we could look for weakness to clear up the lows down here. And that's just what I would like to see on this. But again, you do have this ICT bearish order block that formed within here, so it could push up into there, and you could, short it, place your stop loss above that high, and then look for weakness from there. So for those of you that like trading dollar CAD or want to practice again on your demo account, that's a little setup that you can try taking. But in order for me to short this, with basically live funds, I need to see a break below this ICT bullish order block, and that would give me more confirmation that there's going to be weakness, because we could just find support here and start trading higher. So I'm being cautious again, because I don't necessarily have full 100% confidence that dollar index is necessarily done with its bullish run, because I don't trust equal highs ever, and we have relatively equal highs here in dollar CAD. So it's just hard for me to like trust that. But if we start breaking below ICT bullish order blocks, then it's a different story. But you can see so far we haven't had any ICT bullish order blocks that it's traded down into to have shown either support or break through it and then act as resistance. So this would be the first one that we see. So this is the one we have to wait for. So that's pretty much all the pairs I think I have to go over. Let's take a look at Euro GBP. Again, pretty much same outlook on Euro GBP. I mean, not a ton of movement, but we are out of that range, at least above this consolidation. We've traded back, found some support at this ICT bullish order block, and we've seen the market start trading higher from there. So that's a good sign overall. Again, we are looking and expecting that strength in euro over cable anyways. So this basically just lines up with our idea to be a buyer in euro dollar. So that's, there's really nothing to talk about with this pair, because I'm expecting weakness on dollar index and expecting strength in foreign currency. So this looks strong overall, but it's it's still within this ugly choppy consolidation. So once we get above here, it'll be way different, but we have broke above it. So that's enough for me to trust that euro is relatively strong. So that is basically how I have come to the conclusion that I'm going to be trading euro dollar again, and not to mention how much clearer it looks over cable. So that's why I'm going to be really focusing on euro dollar this week. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post those in the question spot in the chat box, and then we'll move into the Q&A portion.
After this track, I might need me some lozenges. I ain't about to go soft. This rapping shit lately been pissing me off. Guess these words are kinda just at the tip of my tongue, but I'm still young and I hope I find the rhymes that'll live through time before that fat lady has sung. Cause when I'm inside this booth, feels like I rule the world. But I'll hop off my horse, hop in your Porsche, give it